Hello and welcome to this lecture on the Introduction to Nutrition Science. My name is Katie and I'm excited to bring you this introductory material that's just going to give you a real quick overview about some of the topics we'll be talking about in this course. So just as an outline, we're going to look first at why is it that we even bother studying nutrition. I'll introduce you to the concept of energy, which is also known as calories in the study of nutrition. So anytime you hear the word energy, I want you to think calories and vice versa. And then we'll do a real brief look at the nutrients and how they are classified. So starting off, why are you here? Why do we study nutrition? Okay, there's all sorts of subject matters that you could be spending your time working on, and yet you either choose or are being forced perhaps to study nutrition. And if you look at the top 10 killers of Americans, this is data from the last year from which it was available, yet this looks very similar year in and year out, decade in, decade out. Sometimes these top 10 killers of Americans will switch places, but for the most part, heart disease is always first, right? Followed by cancer, then you see chronic lung disease, accidents, and so on. And if you take all of these leading causes of death, you'll see that there's a number of them that are either directly or indirectly tied to food and nutrition and beverage choices either made or not made during the course of one's lifetime. So the ones that I want you to pay particular attention to and to circle in your notes or make note of are these following diseases, again, that are either tied directly or indirectly to dietary decisions made or not made during the course of one's life. And those are heart disease, which is the number one killer, cancer, because as we'll learn, there are certain types of cancer for which there are dietary implications, diabetes, if we skip down, okay, and also stroke. Okay, so heart disease, cancer, stroke, and diabetes. Those four top 10 killers of Americans are tied to dietary decisions. Now, not everyone who gets heart disease is it going to be because of their diet. And of course, not everyone who gets diabetes, particularly type 1, there's no correlation with your diet. However, many of those disease statistics can be attributable to food and beverage as well. I also want you to put an asterisk next to accidents number 4. Much of the accident death that occurs in the United States occurs because of motor vehicle accident death. Okay? And most motor vehicle accident death, unfortunately, has alcohol involved somewhere in the equation, which was an unfortunate dietary decision that someone in that equation did decide to make. And we will look at the health effects of alcohol, some of the positive ones as well in moderation, but unfortunately, this would be a byproduct of one of the negative consequences of too much alcohol intake. So, to sum up, we study nutrition because the food choices that we are making today either directly or indirectly affect much of the potential for us to drive our health. And too many people are making the wrong decisions, which in turn are increasing their risk for some of these diseases that actually do end up killing a significant amount of Americans each year. Now, onto a little terminology, energy. Energy in this class is defined as calories. We use those terms interchangeably, okay? And a calorie, to be specific, is the measure of energy of foods. We can also call it a kilocalorie. So you'll see that abbreviated kcal or cal, and traditionally there are different definitions for kilocalorie versus calorie, but for the sake of this course, we're just gonna say a calorie is a kcal, is a kilocalorie, a capital K, little c, don't get hung up on it. Okay? A calorie is, by definition, the amount of heat necessary to raise the temperature of 1 liter, which is 1 kilogram of water, by 1 degree Celsius. Now, we will be studying nutrients and their implication in different health and disease states, and so it is imperative to understand the difference between what is called an essential versus a non-essential nutrient. Essential nutrients are those that you have to eat from your diet because your body can't make them. Again, essential nutrients are those that you have to eat in your diet because your body lacks the ability to make them endogenously or internally. A non-essential nutrient, then, is the opposite. Your body can make non-essential nutrients, usually from other nutrients and other compounds in your body, but a non-essential nutrient does not have to be consumed in the diet because the body does have the ability to make it. So in the realm of nutrition, when we talk about something being essential, it must be consumed in the diet. We're going to learn about essential fatty acids. Those ones that your body cannot make, you have to get from foods like fatty fish or flax. Okay, that's later in the course. Non-essential nutrients are those that might do a good thing for your body if you eat them in the diet, but the reality is you don't have to eat them in the diet because your body can make them. Our next question is to understand with nutrient classification is whether or not a nutrient is energy yielding or not. And energy, of course, meaning calories. So which classification of nutrients yield calories, those units of heat energy that we just defined? Okay, and we're going to look at nutrients as they are spread through either the macronutrient category or the micronutrient category. Our macronutrients, as you are likely aware, are carbohydrates, fats, and protein. Yes, they yield energy. Every gram of carb and protein provides you with 4 calories. Every gram of fat provides you with 9 calories. If you skip down to the micronutrients, the vitamins and the minerals, you'll see that those are not energy yielding. Vitamins and minerals are very important for unlocking the energy in other foods that we eat, but you don't actually get any calories when you have an isolated amount of vitamin B12. Okay, so vitamins and minerals do not yield calories. They are non-energy yielding, although they are extremely and exceedingly important, as we'll learn in the course. Alcohol is another nutrient that we'll spend a small amount of time talking about. Alcohol yields 7 calories per gram. Water, extremely important, however, does not yield calories. Okay, if your water drink that you are drinking has calories, then there is some sort of sugar added to it, or even recently I've been seeing protein waters, which is kind of ridiculous if you think about it, but on its own, pure water, of course, has no calories. It is non-energy yielding. So, a quick application determining calories. Okay, if you have not had a large amount of nutrition exposure, this might be a new concept, but I would assume that for most of you, if you look at a nutrition facts panel on the side of a packaged or processed food, you have no trouble figuring out where the calories came from. Okay, this is a nutrition facts panel from a container of cottage cheese. You can see that the serving size of cottage cheese is 1 cup, and there are 4 cups in that package. Now, cottage cheese yields calories from carbohydrate, fat, and protein. Okay, obviously, there is no alcohol in cottage cheese, at least as far as I'm aware, so alcohol is not part of this equation. If there are 4 grams of fat and 8 grams of carb and 31 grams of protein, and if you know, as from the previous slide, that every gram of carb and protein has 4 calories and every gram of fat has 9 calories, I want you to pause this lecture and add up so that you can estimate how many calories are in 1 cup of this cottage cheese. So we're back, and hopefully you did this simple math to see that there are 192 calories in a cup of cottage cheese, right? 36 calories from fat, 32 calories from carb, 124 calories from protein. Okay, that's pretty simple, very introductory level math. A higher level math association that you would need to be able to derive from this is perhaps you would be asked, well, what percentage of the calories in this cottage cheese come from fat? Well, if there are 36 calories from fat and there are 192 calories in the whole thing, divide 36 by 92, multiply it times 100, you'll see that there's about 19% of the calories in cottage cheese are coming from fat. You can see right off the bat that the majority of the calories in a product such as cottage cheese, this particular type of cottage cheese, which I think is 2%, is going to be coming from protein. Okay, what percentage of the calories come from protein? Well, 124 calories from protein divided by 192 calories times 100, 65% of the calories in this cottage cheese come from protein. So as far as nutrient density, this is a very protein-dense food source. In summary, I just want to explain to you what the criteria are and what nutrients qualify as being either macronutrients or micronutrients. Okay, the macronutrients, again, are carbs, fats, and protein. We also call fats lipids. Macro meaning large. They're needed in large amounts by the body. Okay, and large amounts in the terms of nutrition science are grams, abbreviated lowercase g. Okay, so your macronutrients, again, carbs, proteins, fats, they are provided in foods to us, and we eat them in quantities of grams, which is actually a lot. And they do yield energy, right? They give us calories. On the other hand, micronutrients, needed in smaller amounts by the body. Micro meaning small. Okay? Either milligrams or micrograms. I'll abbreviate micrograms in the course, either MCG, lowercase, or the symbol for micro, the backwards U. They're the same thing, interchangeable. Okay? You don't eat grams of vitamin C. If you do, you're taking some ridiculous airborne supplement that has lots of vitamin C that you're just going to end up urinating out. Okay? We take our micronutrients in foods, preferably. There are cases where we need supplements, and we'll get to that later. But you eat micronutrients in the quantities of micrograms and milligrams. And don't forget, your micronutrients are non-energy yielding. Those include the vitamins and the minerals.